Want more people to watch your videos? Today in this episode, this guy and me are going to talk about the top metrics you need to study inside your YouTube analytics so that you can get more people to watch your channel and grow. Watch the rest coming up. Today I'm joined by Tim Schmoyer, the leading YouTube expert on the planet in my opinion. Tim, I'm an analytics geek, okay? And I know you are as well. I believe that there's gold inside of the YouTube analytics. But before we get started, I should frickin' follow my script. Now, how long did it take you to kind of become a data nerd inside the analytics? I mean, there's a lot in there, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I uploaded my first video in 2006.
YouTube analytics can be really intimidating for a lot of people. What do you want to say to someone who's just starting to dig into their analytics?
The first thing you need to know, it's just a mountain of data. And so if you just go and be like, hey, let's see what's here, if that's your voice, it's just really, really overwhelming. So it's better to go into it I want an objective. What am I trying to figure out here? One of the easiest places is you can look at your impressions, which is anytime your thumbnail shows up anywhere, all they have to see is half of the thumbnail, it counts as an impression. So they're scrolling through their phone or on desktop, and then you can look at your click-through rate from the impressions to see okay, how many percentage of people who saw this image and this title thumbnail combination actually click through. And then the bottom of that funnel is how much watch time does that lead to? So if you're getting really good watch time on the video, for example, but it's a low click-through rate, then okay, maybe I can update my title and thumbnail here, because when they get into the video, it works really well.
This is the one thing that you can change with YouTube, right? And some of the data that is around it. So when we look at our click-through rate, and you've looked at a lot of different channels, and I know the answer to this question is going to be variable, but what kind of metrics should we be looking for?
The best answer I have for that is just to always compete with yourself. Because if you're going after 2-year-olds, toddlers or whatever, it's a very different number than if you're going after teens or young professionals or sports content versus educational content. It really does vary.
Give us some perspective maybe from your own experience with your channel. What are you looking for on yours?
If a video is meant to have broad appeal, we're looking for high impressions with a relatively low click-through rate.
Really?
Because the broader the appeal, the more people it's going to be put in front of, so you naturally get more impressions. But that means you get the lower percentage click-through rate, but that still leads to more views at the end.
I want to give some perspective. We have a very large blog and we come up in Google search. For example, if someone Googles the phrase social media, we come up number 2 or number 3. We don't get a lot of clicks because Google tends to show all sorts of things before they show us, but we'll take that low click-through rate because it's such a gargantuous number.
Impressions.
So when you're going broad, low is good is what you're saying.
Yep.
Because you're competing with everyone else is going broad.
That's right.
So what is low in that regard? 1 or 2% or even less than that?
Low for us would be around 2 or 3%.
Okay.
But if you're like Jimmy Fallon, for example, really massive broad appeal, I haven't seen their data, but I'm assuming it's even lower than that in terms of click-through rate,
okay.
But still millions of views. So if I'm doing a community video that's just meant for my subscribers, not trying to go big, it's just we're having a heart-to-heart or something like that, that is a more narrow appeal,
right?
And so that might have lower impressions but a much higher click-through rate. Maybe
because it's a phrase that fewer people are searching for and there's less competition?
No, it's more no one else outside my audience cares about this.
Give us an example of that one.
So for example, I was out shooting an interview with someone else and I had another camera in my pocket and I was just showing behind the scenes. Anyone outside my subscriber base doesn't care about that.
Okay.
But it's really good for growing the know, like, and trust factors and with my core audience. Google's yeah, there's only 300 people who care about this video. We shared it to all 300 of them and they all clicked and that's
Got it.
There's a lot to do just with those 3 metrics, but the really important thing is, this is the mistake a lot of creators make, they just look at one of those stats in isolation and get angry why am I not getting more impressions? Or why am I not getting click-through rate, more views? You gotta combine all 3 of those together.
Let's go back to that second part of the conversation, which is the retention metrics. Talk to us, what do we need to know about that?
So there's a really great tool inside your analytics called Audience Retention Graphs. They will show you exactly where people are abandoning your content, what they're going back and rewatching, what they're skipping ahead to watch, and it can really help you fine-tune your content so that you know exactly what causes abandonment, what people really love, what causes confusion, what they'll go back and rewatch over and over again. So we worked with one client, for example, and we noticed in his graphs for him, we noticed that whenever he would say the word module, it was bloop, Like a small percentage of people would leave. And the next time you say, bloop, it's not always as clear, cut and dry as that.
But look at those dips and see what I'm hearing you say.
Like just
there's
stop
a big
saying
drop.
module.
Yeah. Well, also we learned that the introduction after the hook, sometimes we get a huge abandonment, so we just start shrinking that intro.
Oh yeah, it
Right?
just should be no longer than 3 seconds is ideal.
Yeah, and maybe even eliminate it completely, right?
Yep, you totally can. I have done that on many channels too.
So what else should we be looking for when we're looking at that graph?
It's mostly patterns, and it could be anything from like some of the top creators that I work with, they know exactly how many seconds they can talk for before people leave, how many seconds their wife can talk before people can leave, how many seconds they can go without making a cut before people will leave, how many seconds before they show one of their kids, how many seconds a certain genre of audio track can go, and then what kind of audio track they need to use next. Like they have it down to like a perfect science.
Wow.
And because they know so intimately how these graphs work and what captures and holds their audience's attention. And on YouTube, that's the currency, is attention. It's like, how well does this content hold someone's attention? And the better it does that, then the more valuable Google deems that video to be.
A lot of you that are watching the show right now understand the power of Google Analytics, and remember, this is the same company, right? And a lot of the same kind of things that you might be familiar with inside Google Analytics, which is mostly like time on site and abandonment rate and all that kind of stuff. You can get a lot of that, but there's even more. It's kind of shocking and a little bit overwhelming.
Google tries their best, and they do a decent job in the new Studio Beta. When you go in, they give you a dashboard and kind of give you some overview, like high level stuff. And so if you're just getting started, I would just start there. You can get really into the weeds, but like just look at what they present to you, because that's usually the most actionable things for you to look at and really figure out like, oh, where's my traffic coming from? Like, oh, they're watching this video before they find my videos. Maybe that's a topic my audience wants to know about, or maybe that's a potential collaboration with that creator or whatever. Start there.
Hey, if you want to learn a lot more about analytics, this is my favorite video from Tim on analytics. Go check it out.